For many years on our farm, we would try to get everything else done in the operation, and then we'd manage the pastures. Well, what I want you to think about today is your pasture is a crop. And the sooner you control weeds and the better you control weeds, the more grass you're going to be able to produce. Today we're going to talk about some of your weed control options in pastures.
Well, when we think about pastures, we're talking about perennial grass here in many cases. There are going to be some annual grass pastures, but in perennial pastures, the problem I'm most concerned about is biennial and perennial weeds. When we've got weeds that have a multi-year life cycle, they're often going to have rhizomes, they're going to have really deep taproots, and they're tough to get under control with just your normal types of herbicides that you're going to use, like a 2,4-D or a dicamba, for example. A lot of guys say, well, I'll just use some 2,4-D and I'll fry the weeds off and then my grass will hopefully take over in the pasture. That's not necessarily the case. If you don't have your fertility program right, those products probably aren't going to work very well for you.
Well, hold up a second though, Darren. For annual weeds, I have no issue with 2,4-D or dicamba. Yes, I agree with you on the perennials, and where Darren's going with this is the long-term control. Short-term control, absolutely dicamba and 2,4-D will work fine if you use the right rate. But what we'd really like to have is we spray one time and we permanently kill a perennial weed. That's the overall goal. But let's just say that you like using 2,4-D. Okay, one of the things I want you to consider is the new Freelix. That is old 2,4-D that's totally redesigned. It is called 2,4-D choline. So it's not an amine, it's not an ester, it's 2,4-D choline. And the huge advantage here is we're seeing almost no volatility and almost no drift compared to the old 2,4-D. Yes, it does cost a couple bucks an acre more, but if you're near sensitive crop, then I would really encourage you go Freelix. If there's nothing anywhere near that you're ever gonna hurt, fine, use old 2,4-D, it is a little bit cheaper. Also, you might want to use dicamba, very similar to 2,4-D, maybe kills just a few more weeds, has a day extra residual maybe, but 2,4-D, dicamba, not a whole lot of difference overall. It's just that with the dicamba, if there are extend soybeans or corn right next to your pasture, that would be a good idea to go dicamba. Then you don't have to worry about hurting those extend soybeans or the corn.
Well, I'm really concerned, like I said, Brian, about these perennial weeds. When we look at things like Leafy Spurge, they can take down the value of your pasture. They can completely take over, and it's really difficult to get them under control. That's where I see a product like Tordon or Picloram as a great option for you to wipe that out once and for all. Now, here's what we see like on Leafy Spurge. You may see a patch that's, say, 10 feet around. All of a sudden, you're spraying that 10-foot patch, and now 20 feet out, you see new Leafy Spurge plants popping up. That's due to rhizomes that run beneath the soil surface. So when you're going to spray a perennial patch, you also need to make another pass with your sprayer around the outside of that patch, even where you don't necessarily see weeds, because there's probably going to be more weeds that are popping up soon.
All right, so Leafy Spurge, Tordon's absolutely the answer. Tordon is also very good on a lot of woodier species and thistles, but our number one choice for thistles like Canada thistle or any of the biennial thistles is going to be Milestone. Milestone is a little bit safer than what Tordon is around certain trees. It's also safer around fish, and Milestone is not restricted use, whereas Tordon is. So those are just some of the differences between Milestone and Tordon. Both of them, though, do last a long time in the soil, so you have to be careful where you're using them.
All right, now that brings up another point, Brian, because so many growers want to go with a low rate of a Tordon or a Milestone and then put some 2,4-D in, both to lessen the cost of their application, but also, hey, if I'm not putting a high rate to those long-lasting products, maybe that residual won't be as long. How does that work when you do the combo of the fast kill versus just going straight with the products that are long lasting?
Well, when we talk Roundup that has no residual together with a fast acting product like 2,4-D or dicamba, I don't like it at all, because the Roundup doesn't get a chance to get all the way in through the root system before the rest of the plant shuts down. With Tordon and Milestone, they have residual in the soil, so usually you can still knock the whole plant out. But that's again provided you have a high enough rate. So no, if you've got just these big perennials, we would absolutely tell you, let's go hard with Tordon or strong rate of Milestone and just go that way. All right, let's talk about some other products real quick. If you have a lot of brush species, we really like Chaparral. That also has very long residual. That's a combination of Milestone and Ally. And then the last thing is Remedy. If you have brush species and you don't want residual, Remedy doesn't have all that residual.
Well, there's one more that you didn't mention, Brian. It's Distinct. And I'm kind of amazed you didn't mention this one because it happens to be one of your favorite products.
It is. I really like Distinct. All it is Status without the corn safener. It's like 1/3 the price of Status. So it's awesome. 2 modes of action. I love that for annual weeds. No, it's not the perennial weed killer, but if we're talking annual weeds, I'd rather spend my money on Distinct than on 2,4-D or dicamba. It is fantastic.
It is really nice that there are so many choices out there. If you feel like, well, I thought the only thing I could do was 2,4-D, boy, there's a lot of different things that you can do depending on if you've got perennial weeds. You may go at them with something like Tordon or Milestone, or if you want to just increase your control on some of the annual species, I really like Distinct. That would be a nice product you may upgrade to.
Unfortunately, none of these products are going to be our lead recommendation on our Weed of the Week. We'll tell you what will stop this weed later in the show.